I get it, you're scrolling through a sea of treadmills, trying to picture that sleek machine in your living room, wondering if it'll actually survive the daily grind or just end up as a pricey coat rack. You've probably asked yourself, will this fit through my doorway? Will it stay quiet enough for the kids' nap? And does the price really match what I'm getting? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon, so you can see the numbers side by side while I walk you through what matters once you actually unpack it. First off, the biggest hesitation most people have is space. This treadmill promises a folding design, and in real life that means you'll be dealing with a frame that collapses down to about the size of a large wardrobe. The wheels on the base make it doable to roll it into a closet or even the garage after a workout, but you still need at least a 4-foot by 6-foot footprint when it's open. If you live in a studio apartment, you'll have to be honest about whether you can sacrifice a small portion of floor space for daily cardio. For a family home with a spare hallway or a dedicated corner, the folding mechanism is genuinely convenient. Noise is another deal breaker. A 4.5 horsepower motor isn't whisper quiet, but it's not a jackhammer either. In the homes I've spoken to, the motor sounds more like a solid blender, noticeable, but not disruptive enough to ruin a Zoom call or a bedtime story. If you're planning to run at the top 12 miles per hour speed while the baby is napping, you'll probably want to add a rug underneath to soften the vibration. For most casual to moderate runners, the sound level sits comfortably in the background zone. Now, let's talk about the performance envelope. A 4.5 HP motor that can push you up to 12 miles per hour puts this machine in the sweet spot for anyone who wants to mix jogs, interval sprints, and a solid walk-run combo without feeling like they're pushing a lawnmower. The 20-level auto incline gives you a real hill-climbing experience without having to adjust a knob mid-run, which is a boon for people who like to follow a trainer's program or use the built-in incline intervals. In practice, the incline steps feel smooth, and the motor adjusts quickly, so you won't get the stutter that cheaper models sometimes exhibit when you crank up the slope. If you love data, the LED display paired with Bluetooth connectivity and an app makes tracking calories, heart rate, and distance fairly painless. The app isn't a full-blown ecosystem like the high-end brands, but it does let you store workouts, set goals, and even download a few community-sourced routines. I've heard from folks who actually like to watch a Netflix episode while the treadmill logs their miles in the background, no extra wires. Just a quick pairing and you're set. The 64 built-in programs plus 3 sets each of manual, custom, and interval options give you enough variety to keep boredom at bay, especially if you're new to treadmill training and need a guided path. Capacity-wise, a 300 pounds weight limit covers most users, from the casual walker to the heavier runner who needs a sturdy deck. The belt width and length aren't listed in the specs we have, but based on the motor size and the capacity claim, you can expect a deck that comfortably accommodates a 510 stride. If you're taller than 6 foot, you might feel a little cramped on the longer runs, so that's a detail to double-check with the seller's dimensions. Who should consider this treadmill? If you're a home-based professional who wants to squeeze in a 30-minute run before work, if you have kids and need a machine that folds away quickly, or if you're a beginner looking for a mix of speed, incline, and guided workouts without breaking the bank, this model checks most of those boxes. The combination of a decent motor, a respectable speed ceiling, and a variety of programs gives you real functional value beyond the headline specs. It also appeals to people who appreciate the convenience of app control but don't need the deep analytics of a premium brand. Who might want to skip it? Serious marathoners or elite athletes often need a longer belt, a motor that can sustain higher continuous loads, and a more rugged frame that can take repeated heavy impacts. If you're planning to do daily high-intensity interval training at max incline and speed for hours on end, the wear and tear could become an issue sooner rather than later. Also, if you live in a tiny one-bedroom loft with thin walls, the noise level, while manageable, might still be too much for neighboring rooms, especially if you run at top speed early in the morning. Practical strengths: the folding design with wheels, the auto incline that actually moves without a manual crank, the solid 4.5 HP motor that feels smooth up to 12 miles per hour, and the breadth of programs that keep workouts interesting. The Bluetooth app, while not the most feature-rich, does the job of logging and syncing without needing a separate device. The